Thank you for tuning in once again. This is Benjamin Schulze talking to you from Firebird Tours. I just want to let you know that we've actually been conducting these webinars since July, and they've been just very, very successful. So I want to thank you and all the other agents out there who've really been tuning in and all the great valuable feedback we've been getting from it. It's been a lot of fun, to say the least. And again, just do appreciate everyone tuning in again today. Happy holidays. This will be about a 40-minute presentation, and we will be discussing about how to gear up for 2019 and that crazy travel season, which is right around the corner for us travel agents. As we do usually know, our winter season is our most hectic season because everyone's doing their bookings. So let's make sure that we are prepared and geared up for that busy time. In the meantime, as we are going through the presentation, be sure to check out our social media outlets, whether that's on Facebook, Instagram. You can follow me on LinkedIn, as I mentioned earlier, for those newcomers who came in. So yeah, feel free to find me. It's under Benjamin Schulze. We also have our own group on LinkedIn. It's called Firebird Travel Agents Group, and we're always posting a lot of information, and you can even ask us questions there as well. So again, always feel free to connect with us on any of those social media outlets. Also, we have our very own agent website where all of our educational material is posted. So make sure you do go there. All of my webinars are posted there. My colleague Vera, she has some vlogs, particularly more so on Russia at the current moment. So those are really cool and educational for yourself. So yeah, make sure you check out the website. The name of the website is agent.firebird.travel. So a few dots in there. Again, that's agent.firebird.travel. So check that information out there. If you're not registered with us and verified agent just yet, make sure you do fill out that form. It takes all of about 2 minutes, if that. So jumping in again, as I mentioned, my name is Benjamin Schulze. I am the manager, one of the managers for Firebird Tours, specifically focusing on the agent network. And that was kind of my goal this past year. Needless to say, this past year was very successful as we had really double the amount of agents coming to us and getting tours and purchasing programs for their customers. So it's been very beneficial, and it's been very helpful to those agents who may not be probably the best in all the countries, but maybe they're good at a particular region, maybe say Scandinavia, or if they're good at Italy. So it really helps agents get outside of their comfort zone, I would say, with one particular destination, which they may be familiar with. And again, that's where we can assist with all the fulfillment, whether that's the hotels, the drivers, private the customization programs, you name the list really goes on, and we can fulfill really almost anything for requests for Europe. So make sure to keep us in mind always. But a little bit more about myself. Again, I've been with the company for a little more than 6 years. My background in travel, it really stems from ever since I was a little kid. My family comes from out of Belgium. I still have over 150 family members there, which I still go and visit, along with the past 6 years of me traveling with this company. So needless to say, my my overall expertise in European travel is pretty vast. But enough about me. Let's talk about our agenda and what we'll be discussing today. And before I move on to the next slide, you can see at the bottom left-hand side here that's our website for our agents. Again, that's agent.firebird.travel. So check us out there. So on today's agenda, we will be briefly discussing about us, as I see a lot of very familiar names out there. I won't dive in too much regarding Firebird Tours, so that I don't want to be too repetitive. Then we'll talk about a new year, new you. We'll talk about handling inquiries. We'll talk about tour trends for 2019, which is going to be a lot of fun, as well. It'll lead into the hot European destinations for that year. We'll talk about your returning customers, which is very important. We can't forget about them. And then a very short Q&A at the end. So again, feel free to ask questions while we are going through the presentation. We'll definitely be able to assist with any of those questions at the end. And yeah, we'll go ahead and get started here. So about Firebird Tours, we are a direct European tour operator. So basically what this means is we work with local suppliers, from the hotels to the guides to the drivers. They all are essentially working with us in Firebird. So our guides, I would say it's kind of really what we hang our hat on, because our guides are not the normal run-of-the-mill guides that you can find really anywhere, within Europe, if you will. But not only do they have to have the certifications of being a local guide within the city and even going into a particular museum, but they also have to be very professional and well spoken within English. We can always do other languages as well. I've had a lot of those inquiries lately, whether or not if we can hire Chinese speaking guides or Spanish speaking guides. Of course we can. A lot of times actually those guides can be slightly more expensive just because it's more of a niche, if you will. So just keep that as an open mind that, again, if you do have customers who speak other languages, we can definitely fulfill that as well. We cover 30 plus 37 countries all across Europe and extending outside of Europe as well, such as Morocco, Mongolia, China, the Caucasus region, if you're familiar, that's Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Armenia. We even recently launched Israel, believe it or not, and as well as Dubai. So again, if you have those random requests for those countries as well, please feel free to reach out. We also do journeys across the Silk Road to some of the stands, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, all the stands. So yeah, be sure to request those programs if you do have a client coming in for those particular destinations. All the hotels that we do work with are 4- and 5-star centrally located hotels. We tested them and visited them ourselves. We're looking for hotels that are smack dab in the middle of the city or as close as they can be, along with obviously having air conditioning, because our North American clients are usually typically used to the air conditioning, as well as room sizes. As we all know, European hotels, they can be a little smaller, at least the rooms can be sometimes. So again, these are type of the factors that are really kind of coming together in us choosing our preferred properties, if you will. Also, breakfast is included at those hotels every single morning. That's a very standard process with us. So no matter what, whenever your customers wake up at a hotel with us, breakfast is going to be part of that package we're including. All the pricing we ever do is on per person pricing, as I mentioned about our professional guides and private drivers. Again, hitting home more on the private aspect, we can customize any program. The only thing we have to make sure is that it's 5 days or longer, as we don't really only do day tours. It's another very popular thing around this time is agents do come to me asking to create a group tour for their agency and or company so they can sell and promote it for 2019. And we do offer FOCs. So if you can have at least 15 or more sign up, we can at least have one free of charge, which could be you if you have that many people sign up, and we can have your own small group tour to whichever destination that you'd be going to. We obviously offer rail journeys and cruises. More popular rail journeys that we do have are within Russia, the Trans-Siberian or Trans-Mongolian. We have small group tours there. We have the private trains, the private branded trains as well. And we can even customize an entire Trans-Siberian journey as well. So again, keep that in mind. And then last point here, upfront commission with 30% deposits. This is something we launched about 2 months ago, and it's been taking off like wildfire. So with our agents, we do ask for a 30% deposit on the overall cost of the trip. But in turn, what we can do is actually offer you your 10% commission upfront. So again, that's 10% commission upfront before your travelers even go. Please note that deposits are non-refundable. So these are things you need to disclose with your clients. But again, at least we can get you that 10% within that next month after the deposit is paid. So that's a little bit about us. Let's jump more into the actual topic that we'll be discussing today. And obviously, let's start with this new year that's coming, and it's going to be a new you and a new look, if you will. So first things first, it was a very successful 2018 with how many agent bookings that we've had. Again, sorry to repeat myself there, but it was literally double of what we've ever had in the past. And I think it became more to our attention just because of how many requests we had, but then also actually launching a lot of our educational material for our agents. So, we're not just leaving you out in the open, just, you can sell it if you can sell it, if you can't, but we want to actually help with your education and learning these destinations. And I seem to have really paid off and doing very well. So again, make sure you do go to our agent website so you can see all of the past material, if you will. For this next year, I know the holiday season's around the corner. If you are taking off, and maybe if you're listening to me from home, maybe mapping out, an update of branding for yourself. It's going to give you a fresh look. It's going to make you feel a little, more upbeat because it's a new year. Your clients or returning customers, they may come back to your website and then they may see your website that's been updated. And things that we should be updating are going to be our company logos. It's going to be our actual websites as well. So you want to kind of stay with the trends. You don't want to have the same website that you've had since 1998. Believe me, your customers may not be attracted to the website, and it can come off as scammy, if you will, because we all know there's those bad apples sometimes out there in the travel industry. Just making sure that you are updating your websites, and even down to your signature. So even the signature on your email, that would be another thing that you could update very easily, and it takes only minutes. But again, it looks like a fresh start. It also helps build trust with your customers because they see that you're, conforming to the new age, if you will, or staying up to date, with the current events, and how your website is looking. And the aesthetic appeal is very important. Nowadays, a lot of the selling that we are doing is, through pictures or through our actual itineraries that we're sending clients. As well as our great customer service that us travel agents have. So, these are all things that do help build the trust and staying on top of it all. Another thing that you can do, and it's actually been very beneficial for me, believe it or not, was LinkedIn. I recommend you all getting on LinkedIn. One, you can open up yourself to many different other people out there who are in the travel industry. You can see what they're posting. You can see trends. You can see what other travel agents may be doing and what's successful for them. For us, at least, we were able to collect and find so many other travel agents out there who may have questions or who are looking for a tour operator in Europe, and maybe we can do Europe for you, but you still need someone in Asia. Again, maybe you can find another person through LinkedIn on who focuses on Asia particularly. So again, it's a great platform to use. I highly recommend it for yourself, and it's a great way to build a professional platform. So again, and another thing that you can actually do on the LinkedIn is become more of an influencer. So as you have enough people following you, you can actually be posting your own things as to your own expertise on a particular destination or in travel. So, and a lot of people end up following you. So highly recommend that. Just taking a look at LinkedIn if you don't have an account just yet. Moving on here, let's talk about inquiries. There's many times that I have discussed with travel agents in the first initial conversation, and maybe if you've spoken with me before, you'll realize that my first initial conversation with you is never 2 minutes long. It's usually about anywhere from 10, 20, maybe even longer than that, minutes long. So, and the reason why that is because the first initial steps are very important in terms of really getting out what the customers want. So if you spend 15, 20 minutes with your customer, maybe even longer if it's face-to-face, half hour, and really vetting as to what they want, and then also what they can actually afford, and putting those two together, you'll be saving yourself a lot of time and effort, right? So if we just have the Smiths that come into us, it's a family that's going to be traveling to Scandinavia, and they want to do 14 days. But however you go through the conversation, you may find out that their budget is only at $1,500 per person. Well, $1,500 per person for 12 days is just not going to fly for Scandinavia. And instead of just creating the program and sending it to them and then doing all the legwork, and then they come back to you saying they can't afford it, well, yeah, it's kind of on your loss. So we should be focusing on our clients who can actually book the trips and who are actually going to be traveling, versus, again, wasting our time on maybe a customer who cannot. Unfortunately, traveling is a luxury, especially the type of traveling that we're selling here. So again, really vetting out your customers and knowing as to what the actually realistic expectations, if you will. And with that comes reading between the lines. A lot of times they don't know what is an expected budget. So you should maybe have an expected budget, or kind of an idea of maybe a round number of how much a tour would cost per person per day. And then you can prepare them and really nudge them along. Maybe they can't do Scandinavia, but you know what? Portugal is a lot less expensive than Scandinavia. Maybe we can have the Smiths go to Portugal. Granted, that 12 days might be still a little, long for their budget. But again, these are conversations you can have with them and nudge them in the right direction as to what could fit their budget and their time frame. It's important to ask a lot of questions, but maybe not talk so much, but more so just literally putting our listening caps on. I don't know if you guys remember that. Your teachers when you're in school told you to put the listening caps on, but we should always be listening because the clients will tell you what they can and want and what they if they want to do. So again, make sure that you do listen to your customers exactly, per the request of what they can do. Don't be afraid to talk about the budget. I think that's something even sometimes it can be an awkward conversation for me talking to agents about. A lot of times agents, oh, I don't know, maybe it'll be, this, or this. Well, I don't think a maybe is really the best answer for this type of conversation because a budget is literally probably one of the most important things to discuss. And maybe if they don't ever want to disclose that and your customer is being very, very hard with you on telling you what their budget might be, other ways around it, you can ask them how they've traveled in the past. Hey, Barbara, how did you guys travel last year? Can you maybe tell me a little more about it? Who did you book with? How did you book it? Did you like it? What weren't you a fan of? And if they said that maybe they booked with some luxury tour operator and everything was great and grand and they had, 5-star hotels, well, then that might tell you that, hey, they can't afford it. And this is probably something that they're looking to do again. So again, maybe not always wording it, hey, what's your budget? Tell me right now, but asking them in a lighter manner and in a different way of getting to that answer. I'm sure if you guys have been working in the travel industry for a good amount of time, you might every now and then run into a red flag customer. A red flag customer to me is usually someone who is kind of like really nitpicking almost everything, even down to the sentences and maybe how it's worded on a particular itinerary. That might be a little red flag or a little warning maybe as to how they might react while they're on their trip. If they're sending you 10, 15 emails within an hour, if they're calling you every other hour and always, asking more and more and more, not saying that asking questions is bad, but also knowing that you have other customers that you do need to attend to. And again, I wouldn't say you need to shut down those customers saying, no, I can't work with you, you're a red flag. Absolutely not. But maybe simply telling them in a light manner that you do have other customers who you do need to attend to and get back to their questions. I would highly recommend it because honestly, at the end of the day, your red flag customer is our red flag customer. We all want to make everyone happy on our trips, obviously, but just making sure that your customers are valuing your time and your expertise because that is something that you do have. And again, not to turn them away or down, just maybe realizing it, hey, this person can maybe take more of my time from me moving more units of selling more trips. So again, just always keep that in mind and not saying again to turn them down, but just maybe notify yourself that these people may be able to take more of my time than I want. So that's really about inquiries. Again, I would say another important factor with these inquiries is maybe writing down questions, having a questionnaire for if your customers are coming in or if it's over the phone, and just having those list of questions right there for you. And as they're, as you're going through the conversation, writing down exactly what they want, whether it's 4-star hotels, whether it's, 12 days, or they have a range of 10 to 12 days. But again, listing out these questions and being prepared so when you do meet them face to face or over the phone, you're ready, you know what you need to get from them, and then you can go on and try to fulfill their request. And going on from here, let's talk about our top destinations for 2019 and 2020. So real quick jump on that. 2020, yes, we do have already small group tour dates for a variety of our small group tours. We'll actually share that with you at the very end with some links. My colleague Greta, who's helping me with put this all together, she'll be having some handouts for you. And again, you can click on those links. So again, just wanted to mention that we do already have 2020 small group tour dates. We can always even do private tours as well that far in advance. So if you ever have a customer coming to you specifically wanting, a trip that's that far in advance, we can do it. We can fulfill it. Just come to us and we'll be happy to prepare an itinerary and a quote. But now jumping into the particular destinations, first up is Southern Europe. And obviously we have Italy. Italy is literally the most traveled country in the world. And I don't think it's ever gonna come off the list, to be honest with you. There's so much to do, from the historical sites to gastronomical tours to I mean, you name it. It's just beautiful. It's warm most of the year round. So again, Italy is always going to be at the top. Next one, you may be familiar with it, Croatia. As you also may know, they did very, very well during the World Cup this past year, and it has just really brought shed a whole light on all the North Americans that, hey, Croatia is a country. We kind of forgot about it. We should travel there. It's beautiful. It's Google it. Oh my God, it looks amazing. And then here we go. We have so many inquiries coming in left and right. It's not a particular hard destination to learn. It's very, very skinny, and it's really only one direction. Either go south to north or north to south. So you start in Dubrovnik and work your way north towards Zagreb, or vice versa. And it's really stunning. And again, it's becoming more and more popular. I have a few groups that I've made for agents who are now selling tours there and who've already booked with us. So again, keep your eyes open for Croatia, and maybe read a few books and articles on the country itself. Next up would be Central Europe, and obviously many of you travel agents out there who maybe are selling cruises might be obviously familiar with this route, because there's a lot of cruises, river cruises in this region. So we have Hungary, Austria, and Czech Republic. So honestly, what's really growing here and why it's on the list is more of a land tours are becoming more popular, right? So if I'm taking a river cruise, yeah, I'm on a river cruise and I'm stopping in a port for X amount of hours, getting back on the cruise and on to the next place. Personally, I don't know if that's always the best way, but there's always just other ways to maybe enhance the trip, or if you wanted to travel differently. And that would be by land. So taking literally high-speed trains from place to place. And this way you can actually do good and fun day trips outside of those major capital cities, whether it's going to be Budapest, Vienna, Prague. So again, you can maybe see more than just sitting on a river going down the ways. Again, not to talk bad on any river cruises. It's just maybe not my style, but maybe at least another option you can offer to your customers that may want to enhance their cultural experience and really immersing themselves within the city and country that they're in. Next up is going to be Northern Europe, Scandinavia. I mean, it's really one of our bread and butters. We sell so many tours to Scandinavia. It's really not even funny. I think we just capitalized the entire market within Scandinavia. But what we can do for Scandinavia is, one, we have a very popular small group tour. It's 12 days in duration. It's very fair in price for multiple reasons. One, we've been doing this route for so long and working with so many partners, as well as always filling out our groups that in comparison to, say, like a private tour, the pricing is very favorable and it's a really great value. Another popular thing within Scandinavia is going to be those Northern Lights tours. We sell a lot of the Northern Lights tours, and again, working hand in hand with these partners for so long, whether it's the glass igloos or other boutique hotels in random areas in the north, we worked with them so often that, you know, it's really easy for us to claim that availability, if you will. Another very popular destination that we're hearing more and more about is the UK. However, within the UK, the more popular ones, just because on logistical reasons, what we're finding out to be is going to be Scotland requests and Ireland requests. We had an agent about 2 months ago came to us, and we made a customized 14-day trip through actually all of England, and as well as going into Ireland and over to Scotland. It's a phenomenal trip, and I wish I was going on it myself. But again, for those destinations for 2019 and 2020, these are the ones I would definitely focus on for educating yourself. And then obviously Russia is a big one for us, because that's actually where we originally started 11 years ago, was really selling tours only to Russia. And then all of our customers were so happy with the service and what we're providing for them to Russia that they asked for more countries. And again, here we are today now selling to 37 plus destinations across Europe and beyond. So where I was getting at with that is, if you want to educate yourself more on Russia, go to our agent website. And you'll see all the videos, or vlogs, if you will, from my colleague Vera, who was actually in my webinar last month. Things to make sure you don't forget to offer, because many times it even happens with a lot of our in-house reps, is just not asking whether they want to do an extension for 1 or 2 days. So perfect example, if they're doing, they're in Stockholm and they maybe wanted to do an extension maybe to Helsinki, or if they're doing Moscow and St. Petersburg. Well, also Helsinki is only a 3.5 hour high-speed train ride away. Again, where I'm getting at is, don't forget to offer more to your customers. I feel like too many times that We take a request, we see what the request is and how exact it is, and we just fill it and we send it over to them without offering maybe optional tours, which we can culturally enhance the entire program, or again, offering some extensions. Also, another thing is to make sure you help your clients with travel insurance. If you're not familiar with maybe some of the rules, one of the most important ones is once we receive deposit, just making sure your travelers do have insurance within the first 15 days of when a deposit is given to us. And that's particularly important if they want to have cancellation for any reason. So again, make sure you do help your customers with the travel insurance, or at least point them in the right direction on how to get it. Another popular thing, as we all know, the term foodies is just becoming more and more popular, and people are becoming more and more educated on maybe what they're putting in their mouths. Well, gastronomical tours are really taking off. A few places, obviously, that might be a little more popular than others is going to be Italy, Spain, Portugal, Germany, and France. Obviously, the wine regions of Italy, Spain, and France are going to be phenomenal, and the food as well is just going to go hand in hand with that. It's really the fastest growing experience. We have so many customers coming to us for cooking classes, or local food tastings, wine tastings, and pairings. Again, these are the type of things that people are kind of looking for. So in terms of activities and other things to do, when you're speaking with your customers, ask them like what interests them. Is it more of the museums? Do they really like food? Just vetting out what they have maybe done in the past on their programs and how we can make their new tour maybe even better than the last one. A couple items that I do recommend you guys going to, or a website that I even use for myself on a day-to-day basis, would be Via Michelin. So we all have heard of maybe Michelin star restaurants, and maybe we've all heard of the Michelin Man, the tire guy. Well, if you go to Via Michelin, that's VIA Michelin.com. Go to the website there. You can click on restaurants and type in a city, and it'll actually pull up all the Michelin star restaurants within that area. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because if someone is very particular, or a client wants to like learn more or find out a particular restaurant, well, send them here. And because what we can do is set reservations for them. Now, I don't always recommend us including the actual price of the meal, because once we do that, it does lead to set menus versus open menus. So a set menu, obviously, they don't really have much choice. It's going to be these items, and they can't really move, and they pay maybe $90 for it if it's a Michelin star restaurant in certain places. So would highly recommend not including always the meals unless it's a mandatory, or if we have some sort of group tour we're building for you. So for private tours, again, would recommend having an open menu, and then us just making reservations for them, and then they can choose whatever they like for dinner that evening. Yeah, so again, if your clients do have specific requests for gastronomical tours, reach out to us. We can always add those in. And yeah, that's really what I have to say about the gastronomical experience. Heritage travels. I would say this is probably going to be your highest conversion in terms of selling a trip more than anything else. There's multiple reasons why too. So heritage tours, they usually have people who were involved in actually helping create the tour, right? So say the US, we have a lot of Germans, I would say. We have a lot of people from Scandinavia. We should have, in general, a lot of people from Europe. We have Italians, list goes on. So these people, what they really want to do is go and find their heritage and where it's from. And I don't know if maybe many of you heard of the 23andMe, but it's the DNA testing, and you can find out where your heritage does come from, and they can sometimes even pinpoint it to a certain region and or town. And this is actually helping the travel industry, believe it or not, because people are wanting to learn it and know about their past. I think this past year I've had all of about 6 different bookings for heritage tours. And the nice thing about heritage tours is usually not 2 or 3 or 4 people, because what ends up happening is maybe the grandpa or grandma, they really want to do this, it's on their bucket list to go and travel, and then they send it to the entire family, and before you know it, you're going to have anywhere from 8 to 18 travelers going on this trip. So what I'm getting at is, if you hear someone that wants to do a heritage tour, just keep them on a short leash and make sure you're following up with them. Make sure you're very attentive and listening to them as to what they can do and want, because in turn, again, we can fulfill those requests. Even more so, what we can do we have local guides that we can contact before your group even goes over there, and we can ask them, hey, local guide, can you please go and visit this, you're in this village, can you please visit the local library and look through the archives to see if we have any information on this family. So what I'm getting at again is we can really make these custom and plan a phenomenal trip. And there's nothing even more satisfying and gratifying than sending a family on a heritage trip, because when they come back, they're nothing but nostalgic and just, have great energy in terms of their overall experience. So I would highly recommend, again, just focusing on those heritage tours for your customers whenever it does come around. And again, these are all private tours. They're all flexible dates, and optionals are endless. We can really plan anything. Tours and around events. Here are a few key events, I would say, throughout Europe and a little bit more beyond there. Germany, obviously, Christmas markets. If you've never been to Germany during the month of December, highly recommend going. It really just feels like Disney World, but everything is Christmas, and not too many rides or anything, but the whole environment and atmosphere is just, it's really something that it's hard to replicate. So I would recommend doing and visiting Germany during that time. And again, that's the whole month of December. Oktoberfest. Many people here in the U.S. think Oktoberfest is all year, all the whole month of October. However, it does go from September 1st until the end of the first weekend of October. And these are the dates for 2019. For Italy, the Venice Carnival is from February 6th through March 5th. In Spain, the Tomatine, it's in August 28th, and that's where they have all the tomato fights, if you've seen that maybe on one of the travel channels or not. Ireland celebrate obviously St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. The Netherlands, they have the famous Tulip Festival, and that goes from March 3rd through May 19th. We actually even have a small group tour around the Tulip Festival. It's only one date that we have chosen, and it does fill up very quickly, and there's only a few spots left. So if you have customers looking to travel to the region, let us know. And it only not only does it cover Netherlands, but it also covers Belgium. And I actually helped create that program because, again, half Dutch and very familiar with the region myself. St. Petersburg, Russia, we have the White Nights Festival. And this is kind of like an open window because there's activities and festivities going on throughout this entire duration and time. So as you get closer to it, you can really look as to see maybe what's happening around the time that you'll be in St. Pete. But that's usually the last 2 weeks of June and the first 2 weeks of July. And then the last one, if you've never heard of it before, I, again, recommend a quick Google search on Naadam Festival. It does take place in Mongolia. And many of you may ask why we even sell trips to Mongolia, because it's not in Europe. But again, that's the connection with the Trans-Mongolian and Trans-Siberian, because we sell so many of those train tours in that direction that we've become very familiar with Mongolia. And to be honest with you, Mongolia is really a hidden gem. Especially once you get there, everything is dirt cheap, very inexpensive. The people are super friendly. And honestly, it's probably one of the most culturally enhanced type of tours you can take out of anything that we even offer. So again, keep Mongolia on the radar. Check out the Naadam Festival. It's very specific and it can be a little tricky getting people in and out, but it's definitely feasible. And those dates are from July 7th through the 15th of 2019. Next, I want to bring up is the Unbeaten Paths and season. These were kind of like season sensitive, if you will, right? So for Italy, we have so many travelers always requesting Venice, Florence, Rome, or the reverse direction, or maybe even Sicily. However, making sure that your clients, especially for those second timers, that you really enhance their trip overall, because there is a lot to see in Italy besides those three main capitals. But we go north and fly to Turin and visit the Piedmont region, because there's so much great wine in that area. It's called the Barolo region. And maybe even going to the lake region. Again, that's not usually on the first list of people visiting Italy, but it is very stunning. And those lakes sit right on the Switzerland Alps. And offer some great pictures. And now we know that nowadays people want to make sure their Instagram is up to par with everybody else's, and the lake region of Italy can definitely do that. Iceland, for Iceland, it's beautiful really all year round, even in the dead of winter when it's a little harsh. But there's something very dramatic about Iceland that it just offers nothing but great pictures, stunning views. You feel like you're just getting tapped into nature. It's a close flight away from the US. So again, just a very, very popular destination. And we can offer some very fun off the beaten path optional tours. So do make sure you ask for us about those. Regarding Scandinavia, again, going out to the regions where not so many people are going to. So for instance, in Norway, if you've ever heard of the Lofoten Islands, we do have a few programs around those Lofoten Islands, which are absolutely stunning. And really, I guess that's kind of where we hang our hat is, whenever there is something off the beaten path and hard to get to and hard to plan and very specific, that's where we can come in and again, help you fulfill those requests on those unbeaten paths, if you will. Moving on from there, returning clients. I would recommend, if you don't have it yet, having some sort of way of collecting all of your existing customers or your customers that have already booked with you before, because one, these customers are going to be coming back to you and will book with you much faster. They already know you, they trust you, they know how the logic and maybe the way you work in terms of the overall program and what they can be expecting. And they're also great for referrals. So if you have a customer that loved everything they experienced with you during the course of the booking process and traveling, and even after traveling, well, use them as a reference and ask them if it's okay if you can use them as a reference. Because if your new customer comes to you and is like, hey, Barbara, why should I use you? Well, you got to be ready. You got to have those references. I can send you 10 references right now. People can speak to me and speak about my customer service and my company. So again, having those references ready is very important. And again, also working with those returning customers hand in hand, whether you're going to offer them some sort of promotion or, if there's some sort of particular, I guess it's kind of hard to say because there's so many variables with different agencies out there and what you can actually offer. But really what I want to hit home on is making sure you aren't just forgetting about those customers who traveled with you a year ago or 2 years ago even, but calling on them again and just having a simple wave and telling them that you're thinking about them. It does go a long way and it'll help you even have more bookings. Clients booking way in advance, plan for 1 or 2 years in advance. Stay one step ahead and you should make sure that you telling them that we can fulfill those requests. And then there's already dates for our small group tours and our private tours we can already plan. And another big feature of planning this far in advance, well, say if you're traveling in 2020 and you're booking in even 2018 now, well, for instance, you're going to be locking in the pricing for 2018 2 years in advance, when tours usually increase anywhere from 4% to 10%, just depends on the location and where they're going. But tours do increase in price every single year. So at least they'll be locking in the 2018 rates for 2020. So again, it's very beneficial to book in advance. And maybe that's something you can pass along to them. Another thing is just being able to personalize the tours for them. So again, we can do the customization. However, there are a lot of customers out there who may be a little more budget oriented. And with those budget oriented clients, they usually want to be personalizing their tour. And actually we have a great tool for that, and it's called TripTile. I'm not sure if any of you used it yet, but if you go to triptile.com, you can actually build your own tour. And this is not only beneficial, I would say, for a normal consumer, but even for agents. So if you do have a customer coming in and it's very specific, and maybe say our office is closed and it's the middle of the night and you want to fulfill and get back with them, well, you can create that program right online on TripTile. And they can modify it, how many days you want in Madrid versus how many days you want in Barcelona. You can add the connections, so on and so forth. You can change the hotels. You can change what's included in terms of the day tours. So it's a really great feature to have. Or even more so, if you want to have your customers build it, they can build it themselves, and we can do all the fulfillment for them. So again, completely up to you on how you want to handle it, but would definitely recommend TripTile for those who want to be more hands-on with actually building the program itself. So that kind of wraps up today's webinar. Again, this was a little shorter, a little more brief. It was more so to gear us up for the 2019 year. Again, I want to thank you everyone who booked with us this past 2018. It was a great one to say the least, and it was been an eye opener. I learned a lot from the agents, and we changed a lot of our business process to cater around you and to make it better. So everyone who's been a part of that, thank you so much. I do appreciate it, and literally we have doubled the amount of agent bookings because we've been able to support those agents who may not be able to be the experts in all of the destinations, but definitely to help them learn a lot more and sell a lot more programs to various destinations that they're not maybe too familiar with. So thank you to all of you who booked with us. Please feel free to get in touch with us via email. We have the support line, that's agents@firebirdtours.com. If you want to give us a call, even speak with me, you can give us a call at our at our 800 number. If you're not verified with us, please be sure to visit our agent website, and that's agent.firebird.travel. Again, a lot of dots. Again, that's agent.firebird.travel. Find me on LinkedIn if you have not done so yet. I'm very active on there, and always happy to discuss anything with you. Even if you have questions, feel free to private message me, and always happy to assist. So now we'll do our Q&A. I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys may have. Someone asked, Celine, you asked if we are a member of any consortia. Not per se. We have our licenses, if you will, with ETOA. It's the European, I can't even think of it, just skipped my mind, European Travel Association of sorts. But anyways, yes, we have that there. We are part of Better Business Bureau. We have A+ rating. We are actually with CCRA. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of CCRA, but it's been very, very beneficial for us, for agents finding us as well. They have a true number, a true code, if you will, and they have a lot of great information for travel agents. Would recommend going to them and finding out more about them. Again, that's CCRA, and we are verified with them as well. Let's wait for more questions here. A few of you wanting to join the group. That's great, on our LinkedIn page. That's amazing. So someone asked about, Selena, it was you again. You asked about flights. All tours, and do we handle the flights correct? Yeah, so flights you can actually book with us on, so say if you come to me with a request for an itinerary, you can actually search for flights through our consolidator through that particular itinerary I do send to you. But in general, when we are working with agents, no, we don't usually assist with the flights. That's something usually the agents can find on their own. And all of our programs, they do not include the pricing of flights. Flights are always separate, just as a reminder. Another question we have, do you offer net rates for customized tours? I typically earn higher than 10%. Yeah, 100%. We can offer you a net rate, and if you wanted to add anything on top of that, it's up to you. We can definitely do that. And even if you wanted to increase that commission, obviously we'd have to take a look at how we present it, but we can even increase that commission accordingly and make it sure it shows up on the itinerary so the clients aren't confused in terms of numbers. But yes, to answer the question directly, we can offer net rates, and we can put a higher markup, or you can disclose that with your customers. Also, let's see here. Interesting, you mentioned downtown accommodations. Also, I have seafood allergy clients. Can you cater to them? Yeah, 100%. Actually, what we have, there's this item called a travel card, which we send to all the travelers and agents out there. And what it is it asks for personal information, anything down from your name to the date of birth to meal restrictions. And we'll ask about that. And you can disclose it. And what that does is it tells our logistics team that, hey, we have someone who's a vegetarian, and make sure that the meals are done accordingly. So yes, we can cater to those vegetarians out there 100%. Heritage, regarding the heritage programs, is this just to look for origin, or can it be cultural/faith? It can definitely be cultural or faith at 100%. That's something that we can work with. So yeah, just feel free to ask away and send us any inquiries you may have on either of those. Iceland to be offered for more than a week. Do you offer independent tours in Iceland? Sometimes we have French-speaking clients who want to discover on their own. So again, whenever it comes to on our own, that's not something where we really fall in, because we don't want people really doing on their own. We're offering a premium service in terms of putting an entire package and preparing all the services and accommodations for the customers. So when someone says, I'm going to do it on my own, well, unfortunately, they can do it on their own, or you can send them to TripTile and they can build the tour there on TripTile if you'd like. Someone asked, when at what is a private tour? I'm guessing you're just asking particularly, yeah, what is it maybe the private tour and how they work. So private tours, they're 100% flexible, right? So, and I think, Celine, imagine if you and I are traveling together and we want to customize something very specific that we want to see in Spain. Well, we can draw it out, and dates are flexible. It'll just be the two of us, and we'd be going from city to city via usually high-speed trains or private transfers, just depends upon which city we're going to. But again, dates are flexible, the hotels are flexible. And what I actually tell a lot of agents is whenever I make a private itinerary, is that I tell them I know I'm not going to hit a home run on the first program. So whenever I do make it, I do send it to you. Tell this to your clients. Tell them that this can be customized. Say, hey, the hotel in Granada, it can be changed. Whether you want a Parador, if you want a 3-star hotel or 4-star, just let us know and we can make those modifications. Or, for instance, if they don't like day 3, they're not really interested in a walking city tour. They prefer to do a cooking class. Well, we can substitute and interchange things. So again, private is fully flexible, and we can customize it. And again, making sure you tell your customers that we can change things to make sure they want it exactly how they want their trip to be planned. Um, there's another question. I have a few solo retired ladies who like the style of Trafalgar Talk Tours, Globus. Yes. How do I refer them to you? So I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to bash Trafalgar Talk Tours or Globus. What I can say is they're just different from us. Those companies offer usually larger group tours, and their smallest group size is like 25 to 50. So they usually have larger group tours, usually done on a bus. I'm not sure if you know this, but there's even towns in Italy where it's illegal to bring in a tour bus to the town. So what they actually have to do is they have to stay in a hotel outside of the small village and not even be near the small town where they can maybe go shopping and after hours, after tours. But they have to stay outside the city because they're on a bus. So again, not to say anything bad about a bus, but if you have customers who prefer that mode of travel, I think that's the way you have to let them travel. But what you can tell them is, a company who offers actually true small group tours. Our 5-star small group tours are anywhere from 10 to 14 travelers, and our 4-star small group tours are usually 14 to 20. So even our 4-star small group tours are smaller than what they can offer. And our pricing is right in line. It's actually very, very fair pricing, and I would say overall better value and experience when it comes down to like small group touring, if you will. And when you said referring them to us, literally, if they just come to Firebird Tours and they mention your name, we know they'll be working with you, and then we can discuss and hopefully should have them book under your name, and you'll have a sale. A repeat customer, do they receive any past customer discount? Very good question. Um, they do not receive any particular monetary discount, if you will. What we typically can do is offer upgraded rooms in the hotels. So that's usually something that we can offer for them. But there are a lot of variables that do come into play on that. So if you do have a customer that does book, just make sure you reach back out and ask me that question. I'll be happy to answer it. So yeah, with time difference, again, great question. Celine, you're killing it. Nice questions. Thank you so much. What about time difference? How does a client or agent contact you when a client is on the trip? I love that question. Well, you're right. As we are here, probably most likely in North America, while our clients are in Europe traveling. Well, the great thing is we have our logistics offices, plural, all throughout Europe. So we have St. Petersburg, we have Vilnius, we have an office in Malta, we have a smaller office in Switzerland. So we're kind of all over the place in Europe. And what we have is our logistics who supports those people who are traveling. So they not only are they helping with the booking process, but they're also helping, say, if a client can't find a driver because the driver's stuck in traffic or got a flat tire and God knows what, we've seen it off. Sometimes I feel like there's some sort of line between an insurance company because it's just the nature of the beast. Something can happen, or if there's a train delay or something else that could come up. Well, we have a phone number that we give to the customers before they travel, and they can call that local phone number within Europe, and someone will pick up English speaking and help them get to the next driver, or say, hey, you know what, that driver's not gonna be able to make it. Take this taxi, save your receipt, and we'll reimburse you for the taxi and the mistransfer. And then boom, there you go. So it's a really nice support system that we do have, and it's very nice. You can at least have a sleep at night because someone over in Europe can assist while you're sleeping. So it's really nice. All right, let's take a look here. Someone asked, do you have specialists who work on each destination? I've been using DMCs and find that works well. Absolutely. I mean, it's completely up to you on your preferred method of working. A lot of times I feel like with some other DMCs out there, you can't get the information as quickly as possible. Where with us, we can actually give you quotes within 24 hours of when you give us an inquiry. So I would say our speediness and our attention to detail all come into play on that. And that's kind of where we hang our hat, because we're very speedy, but also have the details and can confirm the availabilities and everything. So great question. And oh yeah, sorry, you mentioned if we have specific specialists on the destinations. Yes, we do actually. So we have specialists who usually focus on regions per se, maybe not one particular country. So we have specialists for Iberia. We have specialists for like Southern Europe, which would include Italy and Croatia. We have a specialist for Morocco. We have specialists for Scandinavia, maybe the northern countries, which would include the UK and Iceland. We have specialists for Russia and other eastern parts of Europe, such as the Baltics, which we do very well in. So again, yes, we do have specialists for the particular region. So if you do ever call in and someone transfers you to somebody else, usually that's because that specialist is an expert on that particular region. You, everyone, saying thank you for the education. Great, I'm glad I could help. And again, everyone, just as a reminder, feel free to message me on LinkedIn or reach out to me. Even don't be afraid to call me if you want to discuss and you have more questions. Again, just dial that 800 number, ask for Ben. I'm usually readily available. And yeah, always happy to discuss with you guys some more information. TripTile is powered by Firebird Tours. Someone mentioned or asked that. Let's take a look here. Yeah, great guys. Sorry, just looking through more questions. Yeah, someone asked if we offer Morocco. Oh, yeah, you said yes. So yeah, we do offer trips to Morocco. We don't offer any small group tours. They're all customized. I know Morocco very well myself. I'm a little more into the adventurous travels and love nature. So any country that offers that, I am all over it and would love to discuss it with you guys. So again, everyone, thank you for tuning in. The past 6-7 months of doing the webinars have been very engaging for me and a lot of fun to educate you more on our company and how we work and the programs that we do have to offer. So yeah, any feedback, please give it to me, whether you don't like me, if you do like me. I am here, all ears and always wanting to learn more. So thank you all for everything that you guys have done. Without you guys, I wouldn't have the webinars. So looking forward to 2019. Happy holidays, and yeah, Merry Christmas to everybody and Happy New Year. Take care now.